Hello, everybody, and welcome to DraftKings. That's right. This is DraftKings. We are looking at the English Premier League, and this is week 10. That's right, of a fascinating season so far. My name is Taran Atkins, and I'm your host. And joining me, as ever, to my left, right here, we've got smiling Jamie Hinks, staff writer for DraftKings. And over the way there, we have Edo Del Monte. That's him there. He is a European football correspondent for us. And next to him, he's got his thumbs up. It's Andy Davis, everybody. Right. We're going to be looking at some key matches from week 10, and I don't think there's any bigger than this. We are talking about the aspiring Tottenham Hotspur at home against the champions Leicester City, and I'm going to start with Edo. Edo, how do you see this game going?
I picked Tottenham Hotspur in my pre-season thing, and 2 weeks ago we talked about the chances of Tottenham had of winning the title. They've gone on to draw twice, which is... the
Edo curse.
The Edo curse. I mean, I think I am a curse. It's not just that I provoke, I am a curse. But anyway, yeah, the problem is Leicester are absolutely terrible on the road. We all know that, unfortunately. They're absolutely disastrous. And I think that Tottenham have this. I'm going to say something in the region of 2-0, because at the other end, Mahrez played a bit better last week, but Vardy's gone missing. We've mentioned this before. Vardy really hasn't been the same player. You kind of really get the feeling that last season was that perfect Hollywood one season, etc., etc. But we've really not seen anything from him this season, except for that goal he scored against Swansea. That was like a hint of it, and that was what, match day 3 or 4?
Yeah.
That was too long ago. For Tottenham, I just think Tottenham have too much of them. I think Wanyama will dominate in midfield. I think that central defence is looking pretty solid. Yes, they've conceded goals away that I'm quite angered by. I think, for example, at the Hawthorns, I really would have expected Tottenham to keep a clean sheet there. But no, I just see them as having too much of an advantage. I don't think the score will be massive, just because Tottenham do have some problems scoring goals at the moment. You know, Harry Kane is out, and you've got Janssen, who scores penalties in the League Cup. Not much more. In fact, no more. And yeah, Heung-min Son as a centre forward. I think Pochettino has actually been quite reticent. He doesn't really want to try that out a lot. He prefers Son coming in on the left. But then if you take Son out, then if you put him on the left, there's no Lamela. And if you want to play Janssen up front, that means you're playing Janssen up front. So I'll have it 2-0 Tottenham, a goal of a set piece. Leicester City, not a particular fan.
Okay, so 2-0 you think to Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, maybe with Son, that he's on the radar for everyone.
Yeah, and
no, that could leave the gap. We'll have to wait
4 weeks without scoring well.
Yeah, he has, but he's got a lot of endeavour, and this could be the game where you can turn it on. Jamie, how about yourself? How do you see this game going?
I think Janssen's being unfairly criticised because because he's playing really well. He's a massive nuisance to defenders. You saw what he did against Liverpool. This is a perfect centre-half pairing for him to play against, because Huth and Morgan love to mix it up all the time, and Janssen will be a match for them. Like I've seen him play a few times this season. I've been quite impressed with how he does that. I don't think playing Son is the answer in this game. I think he may play just because they've got a European game. Sissoko's suspended, isn't he? Or is he? Yeah, Sissoko's suspended. So I think Son will have to play at some point in this game. But yeah, I mean, they are starting to be hit by the injuries are starting to bite Spurs, because missing Alderweireld at the back means you have to move Dyer back, which means which means you lose a midfielder. I'm not sure whether Dembele is completely fit yet. That's what I mean. So they're they're a little bit threadbare. I mean, they're not threadbare really, but they're a little bit. But they'll still have too much for Leicester. Leicester, I'm not impressed by at all. I think that 3-1 win against Palace last weekend flattered them a bit. I mean, I only saw the match of the day highlights, but from those highlights, it pretty much looked like they had 3 goals, 1 chance that Mahrez should have scored, and then that was it. And Palace played very well in that game, and we're not that. And then Tottenham, I think, easily beat Palace. I know it was only 1-0, but they easily won that game. The only thing with Spurs is they're struggling to score goals.
Yes.
Without Harry Kane, and that could do them here. But I'm quite confident Spurs will win 2 or 3-0.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I can't see Leicester. To me, it feels like they're going to put everything into that game in midweek just to win the Champions League group, and psychologically they're there, and then they can concentrate on the league games after that. They've
had some brutal luck with the fixtures, haven't they? A lot of their games seem to be away around the European fixtures, and they've put a lot of emphasis, I'm talking about Leicester, of course, on the Champions League. I think you could well be right.
Haven't Spurs got Arsenal next week?
They have.
So, I mean, every team has tricky games around, because this is a tricky game for Spurs. If you look at it, I think every team has tricky games around the European games.
Oh, I think so. I mean, I'm not saying
I think Leicester have got the squad to do it. They've got quite a few players that can just come in and just be average in the league. And
but they
played United away, Liverpool away, Chelsea away. It's been...
But, in my opinion, Spurs have a lot more quality. within their squad than Leicester. You know, Leicester, it's like you take a component out. They haven't got anyone to replace it, whereas I believe Spurs have and have been doing that. And finally, Andy Davis, you're Mr. Spurs. How do you see this game going?
It's an interesting one with Spurs because we took City apart a few weeks ago and then we had this conversation here. Can Spurs win the league? The answer was yes, but we won't, which I agree with. But then we went on a run of we haven't won since 3 draws and a defeat to Liverpool in the Cup. I thought the 2 draws at Bournemouth played really well against us last week, and we don't win at the Hawthorns against West Brom. People tend not to. West Brom are a very good team at home. So I wasn't too disappointed with those draws. We're still the only unbeaten team of the league, and I think we will have too much for Leicester. I'm not confident enough at being 2 or 3-0. I just don't see Spurs winning any game 2 or 3-0, even though the City game aside. But I don't see us putting too many past Leicester, solely because we don't seem to be able to convert chances at the moment. Fingers crossed, this is the week where we create our usual 20 chances and we actually put more than one of them away. I agree with you. I think Jansen's been unfairly criticised. My only criticism of Jansen is that he tends to be looking... He needs to be more selfish. He wants to be too helpful. He's always looking to set other people up, when I'd rather... I can see where he's coming from. I can see his point. He's young and he wants to make an impression and he wants to help the team and ingratiate himself to the manager. What I'd like to see Jansen do is just be completely anonymous for 89 minutes and score a goal, rather than be, Jansen's playing well, but he's playing well out on the left, or he's gone out wide out on the right, or he's dropped back too deep. It's like you need to be in the box.
Is he Tottenham's Graham Sharp now? Is that what he is?
I think he's turning it to Tottenham's. I hate to say it, but he's turning it to Tottenham's Soldado. Soldado got a lot of goodwill from Spurs fans because he always turned up, he always tried his arse off, and he was very good at bringing other people into play. He just couldn't find the back of the net. My fear is that Jansen's going to be doing the same. I mean, fingers crossed Kane's back soon anyway, and that enforced ankle injury will serve as the rest that we all knew he needed.
Sure.
And he can come back and go on a run. But I'm disappointed that Jansen hasn't been able to take advantage of the situation that has been presented to him. Saying that, Leicester are very obliging on the road, so we will win. But yeah, 1-0, 2-0 at best for me.
I can only see a Tottenham win. It just depends on whether Ranieri does what he's been doing prior to Champions League games, and that's resting your Mahrez's and your Vardys, which has been their undoing. It certainly was when it came to the bridge, and we battered them, and it was too little too late. Same thing when they went to Old Trafford. They left those guys off too little too late, or took them off at half-time. And so if they do that at Spurs, I think Spurs can win by a margin. If they play their full-strength team, I still see Spurs winning.
I mean, Spurs we've got Leverkusen at home, which is a must-win game for us in our group, and then we've got the North London derby the following week. So, you know, I'd be interested to see who plays at fullback, for example. I think this is possibly a Ben Davis, Kieran Trippier match, and he'll be saving Rose and Walker for the next 2. The central defence picks itself. It has to be Dyer until Alderweireld's fit, because Kevin Wimmer is left-footed and he doesn't like to play him on the right. So, it'd be interesting to see the lineup for me.
And that's it. We all think it will be a Tottenham win, but we're all mystified on what Tottenham will play and what Leicester will play, because, of course, they've got the midweek European fixtures. But you know what, guys? Nonetheless, there's a lot of Rolls Royces on offer here. If you've got the DraftKings app, you've got your $50,000 budget, you're going to pick your team, you're going to take some chance on some of the Spurs players and some of the Leicester players, aren't you? I certainly will. It's entirely up to you. But guys, this is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.